I'm Mary Lochner with Alley Abstract Company, Title Insurance Company.
Sandra Lochner with Alley Abstract, and we're abstractors and
Title insurance agents. We've come to give some information about title industry. We've been in the business for several years. Hopefully we can answer some of the questions that people ask you about. Let's start off with abstracts. Originally, Arkansas was an abstract state, and it's gradually changed through the years as people went to the secondary market to get their funding. Title insurance became more necessary. But abstracts are really what title insurance is based on. An abstract is a history of the property, compiling all of the deeds that were at the courthouse, anything that's recorded that pertains to a special piece of property is contained in this abstract, which is put together in a booklet form. And then the attorney, if the people want, can have an opinion given by an attorney, and he decides whether the property has any defects or if it's got good and merchantable title. The abstracts usually are pretty thick, and that's another reason title insurance became a lot more convenient. Plus, it also has the added benefit that the bank or the individual is insured that their property, their title is good. The abstract has warranty deeds, it has easements, which show any liens against the property if there happened to have been a divorce that was in the property of the people that had the property at the time, or if they passed away, there would be probate, death certificates, possible affidavits, but it's in a chronological format because it starts out from when the U.S. government gave land patents to the property. That was, in most cases, given in the early 1800s. A lot of the fellows that came out of the wars at those times were given 40 acres to 160 acres as some of the benefit for serving in the war, and then they had to work that property, and once they could prove that they had worked the property, then they were issued a land patent. Then from that point on, in many an abstract, you can take a look and you can see where it goes all the way back to where the patent was there, that, for instance, maybe it was even Abraham Lincoln that signed the land patent, and then proceeds in a chronological order from one individual to another. It's only when that person doesn't convey the next deed that we have a problem, and that's when we start having to get corrections or claims taken care of.
With the title insurance, we first do a title commitment, and what we do, we use the same abstract as previous, but we go through, after we get all the documents, we then examine it and check for any defects or anything, and then we put together a commitment which is given to the people, and it says what type of policy, who's entitled, the legal description with either being in a subdivision or meets and bounds description. It goes by that rather than an address. And then there is a requirement page or schedule, which on that we make all the requirements of what needs to take place in order to give good title to the buyer. Usually we require the warranty deed, and if they're going to a bank, then the mortgage. And if there's any mortgages to be paid off or any judgments. If there are mechanics liens, which are liens or claims that someone who has done previous work on the property, we check for that. If there's IRS liens or state liens, any personal judgments out of a case from the courts, anything like that, we put that in there, and they have to be addressed at a closing to make sure that they're satisfied. Then we also check on the property taxes to make sure that they have been paid and that they're in the name of the person who owns the property. And we call those out. If they're delinquent taxes, we show that, or if it's just the current taxes that need to be paid. Then if there's any special thing, like if the previous owner has passed away, then we require a death certificate. or possibly we may have to require, if it's going through probate, with court documents that would need to be taken care of. All of this we show in the commitment, and then in the last section, which is the exceptions, schedule of exceptions, we call out any exceptions to the policy which the policy does not insure. Now on that, we can call out if there's been any right-of-way things that have been filed, easements, if it's in a fire district, or if it's different ordinances, or possibly if there has been a survey and it shows that there's been fence encroachment, or if there is a building that encroaches the property line, maybe a driveway or a roadway. We call all those things and we show them on the last page in the exceptions. Now all of this needs to be looked over very carefully when you're buying a piece of property, so that you have a chance to look at it to see, and if you have any questions, check with your attorney to see how this would affect you. With the title commitment, once this is what they use in order to do a closing. They take the title commitment and they proceed with that to take care of the requirements. After the closing, then we again go through, well actually at closing, we do another search because there's a gap between the date of the commitment and the date of what will be the final policy. So at the day of the closing, we check the records again, we check for judgments, we check for liens, we check all of that again just to make sure that it's current. And then after the closing, we have to go through this procedure again to make sure that we check those records again. We pick up the deed, we pick up
and to
all
make
the
sure instruments were properly
After we get a
taken care
copy of them, then we make sure that the right people have signed, that they've been notarized properly, that all the legal has been attached. Anything that would make them a proper document.
A lot of these questions too, if a person has any questions, they're more than welcome to please stop by our office at the corner of 7th and Baker and come on in. We'll be glad to show them. It's kind of hard to just explain what we've been doing, but it's a lot easier to show them, and we'd be more than happy to show what our records look like. If they want to see some of those land patents signed by the presidents, we even have some copies of those. But we appreciate the opportunity of giving you this information, and you can contact us at Alley Abstract, area code 870-425-2264, and on our website at www.alleyabstract.com. And we appreciate you. Thank you.